Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Mopars.com. It's Saturday evening. It's a cool 100, probably warmer in the shop. I won't let myself look at the thermostat, but we're going to cool it off a little bit because some of this stuff goes back to like early January. I think maybe something was ordered quite some time ago, had to come in, and then it's just kind of been sitting there as we've done other things in the shop. And quite frankly, I'm ready to start using these, so we're going to get them showcased. It's going to be a short tool haul, but it's going to be a pretty dadgum cool tool haul. So, as always, I will have timestamps linked down below, and what the timestamps will do, they'll walk you through the video. If you're like, man, this introduction's too long, and you just want to skip to the tool, you can do that. If you want to spoil the whole video and see what the two items are, it's right there, drop down arrow away. That said, I do link back to KC Tools. Still, as of recording this, I make nothing off of that. It's solely done for your convenience. And beyond that, you should know the drill. We get a German tool sticker pack if you go over $100, which, spoiler alert, we did that here. And you also get a bit of thanks, which is currently a number 2 Phillips from Vit. So, we're going to get started with, I guess, some companion items that we need to throw down here. So, here's one of them. Now that I've got your attention, we'll throw down another item. And what this is essentially is it's framing what we're going to bring in as our very first item. So, the very first item was that sound clanking on the back end. Probably might have spoiled the second one. We have, from Stahlwille, their item number. This is a short haul, so we're going to do this. ST13261010. For those of you familiar with their system, that would be a 517 QR. Price point, it's a spendy one. This is $212. You're thinking like, okay, wait. There's 2 ratchets on the table, $212. What's the common denominator here? What is going on? Let me think through this like I should logically. Over here, I'll help you through it. We've got a 1/2-inch drive, quick release, okay, standard. And then over here, we've got a locking flex head in 3/8. Some of you may recall this was a birthday ratchet. And, spoiler alert, that's what this one is. The catch is, this one was a gift from a friend. We'll just say that the name starts with a C and leave it at that and let it know that it's very appreciated. So, what could it possibly be? Well, if we've got that, and you know that we have standard 3/8 Stahlwille ratchets, and you think, I don't know if we have 1/2-inch ones, well, you would be on the right path. And that is why, if I work this out of the bag, you're going to see that drop down with nothing in it. Beautiful, right? We do have the cool little manual, and right here, once again, that is going to be our part number, and that will reveal what this item in my hand actually is. I'll set this off to the side, and we'll come in here, boom, love this. Yes, these will get chewed up if you use them with a cheater bar, but this one's got some pretty good length to her. So we come across, there's the glorious green button, which what's that's going to mean? It's going to be a locking flex head, and there she is. So again, this is quite awesome. Why you think, hey, if you've got the 3/8, why didn't you get the 1/4? Again, I'm not sure where that all comes from. I get smaller profile, type of a thing. But for me, 3/8 is going to be the most frequent, and then 1/2, and then 1/4. So, spoiler alert, birthday next year, what do I plan to bring in? Ties in with that, and it ties in with this, but it might be smaller and less expensive. So, yeah, you figure that out for yourself. But this is classic Stahlwille here. The interesting thing on their locking flex heads, number 1, it's not like stupid and cumbersome with weird switches or levers on the shaft. Number 2, it's not like Matco's where there's a switch like the Ratchet, but instead of it being easy to articulate like that, you would literally have to get pliers. I have still never gotten my Matco to function. Now granted, if you get it in the position, it's okay, but I paid extra money to have a locking flex head, not just a flex head and not just a fixed ratchet, and the fact that it doesn't function just absolutely irks me. It would be a great ratchet otherwise, at least initially. I haven't really used it enough to strip the teeth. I force myself to use it, but it's one of those things, like I paid for the locking flex head, and when that feature is inaccessible, It's dumb. I've wasted a lot of time just going back and forth trying to break it in. I've soaked it in oil. I've done all kinds of things to help it along its way. And the fact of the matter is, for the price of that thing, there are ratchets for fractions of the money that perform their functions and do better. And it's just one of the most disappointing things we have brought in. This one is not disappointing. This 3/8 is probably my favorite 3/8 flex head, let alone locking flex head, which doesn't have much competition there, thanks to Matco. But it just works. It's a great ratchet mechanism, and she's functional. So if you're curious and you think, okay, locking positions, what's the deal? We've got the push button, which, again, if you're familiar with their quick release, same type of material, same type of feel. Coming down, obviously, if you need this to be floppy, you can, but you're going to have one downward position. It's going to be this angle right here, all right? Then your second position, if you will, is going to be neutral, straight on 180, parallel, whatever you want to call it. Your third position is basically going to be what I would consider to be the equivalent of the one down. Again, pay attention to this. We're going to go neutral, we're going to go down. Again, looks roughly the same in my opinion. And then the fourth and final position is going to be another one up, which is right there. So yeah, you could totally do this, but if you move any at all off of the fastener, you're probably going to lock into one of the other two positions. But hey, it is what it is. You can pick your poison again. You know, like if you go fixed, you've got nothing. If you go with something like Koken, where it's just sort of like nylon friction hold type of thing, that's great until you wear it down. Again, we haven't done that with the Kokens. But the flip side, with an always floppy that you can kind of tighten up, it's always floppy. And then with something like this, you might not have your desired angle, but it's going to be pretty solid and it's going to be functional, and that is what the most important thing is to me. So let's come in here. We're going to take a 19mm deep. This is still my only Stahlwille half-inch drive deep, and you get the feel here. We come in, we tighten down. I do notice they're half inches, just like this guy. That's one of the reasons I don't use it as much. The 3/8 is buttery smooth compared to the half. I've never really had issues with this. It's just not near as smooth. I think it's probably testament to this being one of the best 3/8 ratchets I've ever used, but it's kind of strange, and I see that same thing here. If you're familiar with the sound of a Stahlwille, you can probably be like, wow, it's like a quacking duck. Sometimes, you know, like you catch it and it's really solid and it's kind of consistent, and other times it just kind of seems to not be. And I'm hoping that this one breaks in over time. This one kind of didn't. I mean, you can see we have used it. I do make a point like, okay, we're going to use Stahlwille today, which is still coming from a guy that had Craftsman stuff, you know, is my exclusive tool set, Craftsman USA at that. But it's one of my favorite things to just like have choices. Any half-inch drive ratchet would have worked, but it's like, ooh, you know, which one do I want to use today? But, yeah, so that does limit seat time with each ratchet when you have multiples, but to me, it's just the enjoyment outweighs any negative. So again, right here, you can kind of picture yourself in this position and go into town. Obviously, no work's being done, and then boom, here comes the work. I have zero complaints with this. It's a fantastic piece. We might go into more detail here shortly. I am sweating profusely. We've not even been going 10 minutes, and this 100-degree heat is bad. I'm actually wearing shorts. I never wear shorts. I thought to myself, man, you know, it's so hot. I think I'm gonna wear shorts. And my legs aren't sweating, but man, my face is. So I could totally turn the fan on, but then there's going to be background noise, and I'm trying not to do that to you. So again, super stoked to have this guy. We'll see how he goes, and again, we might come back to that. It'll kind of depend how toasty I am. But for our next segment, we're going to need some other items to come out. We're going to need this. What is that? That's Stahlwille Open Box 13. It's going to be a 9/16. What is this? It appears to be a Stahlwille Motor 10, and that's correct. This is half by 9/16. 9/16 mirroring on this end. Note, interestingly enough, that the Motor 10s are slightly longer than the Open Box 13. If you really want to critique these, that would be it. Logical response from a Stahlwille fan or aficionado would be, hey, just get the Open Box 14. They're the long pattern. I would love to do that. I probably would have done that instead of the 13s, but they don't make them in SAE sizes. Imperial, fractional, old school, American, whatever you want to call it, it's not there. So, and I always botch AF across the flats, and it's more of like a Gador thing. But yeah, it's across the flats. I still think American form sounds cooler, but I might be biased there. Who knows? And then our last thing that might kind of be tipping the scale even more so to you knowing what's going on is right here. And these are probably the most economical double offset wrenches you can get from a German tool company. These come from Heyco. The metric is great. It's 14 and 15. That's why I bought this. I needed the 14 and then 9/16, and you guessed it, half over here on this side. What's the difference? The finish is essentially the same. It's just you can tell far more care goes into the finish out here on the metric ones. Again, probably because they just don't sell or have the demand for the SE. Like, you can barely see those size markings. The 14 and 15, kind of right where the thumb is, and here come through clear. And then that's just kind of like jibber jabber. You can't tell what it says. Can't really even see Heyco unless you like tilt it and get in the perfect light. So one of those things. But yes, double offsets. So I kind of thought I'd bought a Hazette double offset, like a, I don't remember, it was a 1314 or a 1013. I don't know where that is. It's liable to be like in the truck or in the trunk of the Challenger. I really don't know. Maybe I didn't buy it. Maybe I just have amazing dreams at night. But anyway, what we have next, this one goes back a long time. I can't believe that I haven't let myself open this before now. I want to say this is kind of like, I think it was like another gift to myself from me. What a nice guy. But, it is Stahlwille. We're going to go the long one first. ST 96414 if the sweat in my eyes is letting me read that correctly. What's the short one? 20A/6. Now that might give it away. If you're familiar with the lingo with Stahlwille, you're going to know that the A is going to be American, or across the flats, or whatever you want to call it. You're going to know that the 6 is going to be set contents, number of pieces, right? And I guess it would work better if I just did this, because I want to prove to you I have not opened this. I have wanted to. I have thought about it, and I have held off for Lord knows how long with such great willpower. It's how we hold off for deals. And man, my this is a bad time to be doing videos. I can barely see out of my eyes right now. We shall persevere. We will make it through. But this is it. This is a Stahlwille box. And as you might have guessed, if it sounds like wrenches, you've got a good ear. You can spoil your own Christmas gifts, I'm sure. 20A/6, here's a long part number 96414402. At the time that I ordered these, they were 181.60. That was a while back. They may have gone up, but they're actually less expensive than the half-inch flex head there. So let's come in, and together we're going to cut 4, I believe, strips of tape, 1 and 2. Nice little offset here, fittingly, for these wrenches. And this will be my first time seeing them. I'm hoping that this is not metric. I have had times where I've had like the wrong thing sent out, but we shall see together. Oh, these are nice. these are really nice looking wrenches. Okay, so, and the offset looks amazing on them. So right here, 3/8 7/16. Look at that step down. It's amazing. If I could see it. Ugh. I tell you, man, I work hard for you people, whether you realize it or not. Look at that. That is awesome. Picture this, like this wrench right here would be really good for like battery terminals and weird spots and stuff, especially since it's 3/8 and 7/16. 7/16 is going to be what I would most frequently use. But right here, they've got it stamped that way with a 7/16. Let's kind of do our first impressions here. And then here we've got Germany. We've got chrome alloy steel, chrome in Germany, sort of offsetting your alloy steel. And then there you've got the 3/8. So if you were to hang these, this would be in line with the fastener size, which is good. And then unfortunately, your other would be upside down, but let's spin it now and see what we have. We're going to have to flip as well. We have 7/16, again, aligned if it was hanging. I'm fine with that. It's just one of those things. Again, 3/8 going to be aligned the same way. And then you've got Stahlwille, Stahlwille 20. Now, what is that? Stronger than any bolt, all right? The 20 series, that's, again, if you're familiar with Stahlwille, like the 13, the 14, and the 20, tells you what you need to know. Dang. That is good stuff. So we've got a 3/8, 7/16 up next. Probably my most frequently used one. It's the half 9/16. Ooh, This is good stuff. Really good stuff. We do have the smaller size. We've got, should be 1/4 by 5/16. Let's zoom in for the final results. Yep. Where's my 1/4? Where's the... I said, there's the 5/16. Thank you for cooperating. We'll set this down. How are we doing? We're doing Stahlwille up. The coolest thing about these, it's kind of impractical, but like if you ever wanted to rubber band a set of wrenches into a really compact thing, double offsets are what you're looking for. A 15-degree nonsense, unless you get like something straight, you'll never be able to do it. But with double offsets, it just stacks so well. And, for 6 wrenches, we're going to cover a lot of ground here. I think you're going to be impressed. These next 3, pretty easy to deduce what we need to grab first. Where we left off, if you recall, we had 9/16. Here we're going to have 5/8 and 3/4. So again, Stahlwille up. So we're going to stack these suckers. And, we're getting pretty nice length out of these too. I'm excited to kind of compare there. The next one's going to be here. We now kind of skipped 11/16 a second ago. It is back 11/16 by 13/16. Such a nice offset. Now something that offset, the only downside, you legitimately could run into a situation where you're like standing too tall, you've run into an obstacle, you know, be that an alternator, a fuse box, what have you. But I'm willing to take a go with it and see how she pans out. Right here, 7/8 and what? 15/16. You know, that's a huge deal for me, especially if I decide to buy a set of these for work. That would spin all the time. So what you're missing, obviously, is like 1 1/8, 1 1/4, I think would be my next addition. Again, 1 inch, not that big of a deal for me, but 1 1/8, 1 1/4, yes, that would be quite nice to have. The finish out on these is fantastic. This is a very, very beefy wrench. It's kind of cool to see how Stahlwille handled these, actually. So basically, walking you through the largest one for visibility. Let's actually, before I get this out of here, I want to highlight that. Is that some German writing there? Looks eerily similar to something I could read, doesn't it? Interesting. Cool to know that they use blue and not black, though. That's appreciated. We'll have to have confirm something they do at the Stahlwille factory there. And for what reason, who knows? But maybe the white fold flap, you know, comes later in the production cycle, who knows. But right here, we're going to flip back to Stahlwille, and I want you to pay attention. This is essentially like what we see with the open box 13s here, again, because we can't get 14s in SE. So similar design, might be a little bit beefier, but then the drop down and the offset is just glorious. There's absolutely no burr, no imperfection, not on the backside, not on the corners, not anything radiused in here. It's a smooth. There's like 0 friction loss there. If we were pouring honey down our wrench onto the top of a 5/8 bolt, it would just flow beautifully. Who would do that? I don't know, but it's something that came to my mind for some reason. That's just how nice of a presentation I have with these. So, I currently see no reason with metric to not duplicate what I've done here. However, I am a man that likes to explore. We would have options from Hozette. Clearly, Heyco, again, would be our most economical, and we're one piece there already. The other option is just go El Cheapo, because I don't use it as often. We could probably find something from Icon. But after having these in your hand, I think anything else would just be disappointing. Again, especially now, granted, I know some of you, are going to be pure old school Americana. You want flashy, shiny, polished chrome. For me, I genuinely prefer this barehanded. You just get a better tactile feel on it. Again, if I could see out of my left eye because of sweat, it would be nice. But just wonderful, wonderful wrenches here. And again, for the money, again, I think they were $181. We probably got them on sale as well, but we'll just go with a full retail price of $181. Divided by 6, that's like $30 a wrench. And you think, that's kind of a ripoff. But think of it this way. You're going $30 a wrench, but you got a factor like this 7/8 by 15/16 is a horse. Like, that is a massive wrench. You can exert all kinds of leverage with it, and it's clearly going to be more expensive than, say, the 1/4 by 5/16. But the other thing, you've got to think, it's only 6 wrenches, but here's the deal. We're going from 1/4 to 15/16. Think of it that way. That's kind of where you're like, oh, hey, that's like 12 sizes, huh? 12 sizes into 180. That's now we're talking, right? We're doing a heck of a lot better there. So again, this is kind of how they could stack. They ratchet these up greatly. But again, if you really wanted to, if you wanted to bundle these, tape them, you know, bungee cord, cable tie, you're compacting them down for some trip or something, might need them, this is the way to go. But what I want to do is break down this beautiful setup, and I want to grab the 1/2 by 9/16, and we're going to do a little bit of comparison work here. So, right on this front, I may have to take a break with the fan, I'm not going to lie. We're going to go straight to the Heyco because it's here, and we're going to take the 1/2 and the 9/16, which will have to be kind of flipped here. But check this out, the Heyco is going to be a shade longer than the Stahlwille. Again, this could be useful information for you. Maybe you have the Heyco, it was too long, the Stahlwille would fit. Maybe the Stahlwille is going to be too long. Similarly, maybe you want the longest reach possible. You're going to want to go with the Heyco over the Stahlwille in this case, interestingly enough. In terms of the offset, pretty similar, but in the case of this one, the Heyco is actually got a little bit deeper of a profile there. So the Heyco sort of fans out. I feel it more of a radius than the Stahlwille. If I could get these, it's very awkward to compare them in the manner I'm wanting to. But if we kind of do that, maybe you'll see what I mean, where it's just like your OAL from here to here. I feel like it's going to be greater on the Heyco. But I wish I had more Heicos to compare, because it could vary. Maybe Heyco uses the same pattern for every size, you know, i.e. the 1/4 by 5/16 is this length, 7/8 by 15/16 is that length. Maybe they vary too. And then does it keep up with Stahlwille? Does it stay that much longer? Does it equal out? Does Stahlwille take over? I simply don't know. If you do, by all means tell me, because again, in the comments section, people see this and they're contemplating buying these, even if they go metric. That is something they would want to know. Man, it is. I have no drink out here either. I did not realize it was going to be this warm and toasty in the shop. So, what we're going to do now, we're going to come into the motor tin, which is not the best example in the world, but we're going to roll with it. And I want to showcase that obviously the motor tin is going to be, I would say, pretty even up until the offset. So if you're looking for the longest SAE wrench that Stahlwille makes, and you can do the offset or you find it desirable, it would provide you the most torque and leverage. Again, torque being a byproduct of the increased length, which yields increased leverage. But here's the real kicker. Again, keep in mind, no open box 14 available from Stahlwille in SAE sizes. So their standard 13, if you were to just pair this with, you know, their double offsets, sweet little combo, I have to say. Now, side profile, I'm not going to mic these. I want to say this is a bit thicker of a beam, so that's the trade-off. Some people, if you had to find a complaint with the Stahlwilles, you'd say, oh, it's not as comfortable. You might be used to like a Wright, you know, or a, you know, rounded over wrench from an American profile. The flip side of that is these almost take the place of a thin wrench, and they're going to be way more comfortable than your dedicated thin wrenches. So again, there's always a trade-off with every single design choice you make in a tool. But I have to say, for the money, 181, 6 wrenches, 30 bucks, double that to 15, make it 12. That's pretty solid. You know, $15 per wrench essentially with that kind of an offset. Also increased length. I don't know what's not to love. And I do apologize, but like, I'm about to start dripping sweat down onto the camera. And I'm going to try to avoid that. Going to grab a blue shop rag. But I'm going to stand in front of a fan for a few seconds before I close this sucker up. Alright, quick break later. I've got the fan left on. It's kind of hitting my back at this point in the video. I just don't care. I don't have it facing right at me, so I'm hoping it's not screwing with the audio too bad. But I did want to come in and kind of highlight the specs over here on our 1/2-inch flex head. Or I should say here on our 1/2-inch flex head. Give you the exact things. Of course, you should know Stahlwille ratchets. What do you see here? What do you see here? It's actually what you don't see. They're FOD, falling objects, right? Not good. Again, think aviation, where Stahlwille kind of, well, focuses, I believe, a lot of their stuff. But the main specs, 80 teeth. To get exactly technical with you on the detents, if you will, you're going to have straight, you're going to have 30 up, 60 up, and you're going to have 30 down. So again, those are your 4 positions. Standard, 30 up, 60 up, and then 30 down. So that kind of takes care of what I wanted to cover there, and then kind of the more important thing, which, did I seriously? I did not mark the page. My apologies. I believe it was here. I do want to mention with the 20A set, I misspoke. There is one more set. It would be the 20A/10. The catch is you're going to get a lot of like weird sizes. It's kind of one of the things that chases me away from it. You don't actually start smaller and you don't end larger either. So you guessed it, like 1932 is in there. You're going to double up on a couple of sizes. Just not really my desired set to see there. So what I want to showcase to you is this right there in the corner. That's our 20A, and this is basically everything you can standalone purchase. So our set, we're basically going 1/4 5/16, 3/8 7/16, half 9/16, and then this is where you could sort of get kind of funky. That does make a lot of sense, especially if you have a need for 3/8 fasteners on two sides. That's crazy. I would never need that. Possibly need it, but I'm very, very, very unlikely. And so then you jump up, you got 5/8 3/4, 11/16, and 13/16, 3/4 7/8, and then again right here, kind of funky, the 25 32. I mean, good luck if you need that. 7/8 and 15/16 here is where we stopped. There is a 15/16 by 1 if you needed a 1-inch. That is your only way to get it. And then interestingly enough, you've got an 1 1/8 and an 1 5/16. There's no 1 1/4. I don't know if this one was to be, could go multiple ways, but yeah, so this wrench would be desirable for the 1 1/8. Again, what am I going to do with that 3/4 stuff? 1 1/4 I think would have been better served, but hey, this is what it is. So just kind of wanted to take the time to highlight that in the event of two things. Number one, you actually want, like maybe you do some really, really old stuff or funky things and you need the big set there, or you're like, hey, you know, don't trash my 25/64. I need that. You do you. I'm just saying, you know, anything recently, you know, like I think you're going to be fine with the 20A6 and then build off of that. Similarly though, let's say you know exactly what you do and what you do stops at 3/4. Let's say you go 1/4 to 3/4 and that's it. Don't buy the set, all right? Piece them out individually. Sometimes with Stahlwille, you come out considerably cheaper when you do that. Clearly in this case, we don't have any tool control system. There's no foam, nothing. It's just the 6 wrenches for us. So by all means, factor that in when you make your purchase. But I think that wraps it up. That's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. I'm going to stand in front of the fan again. But, I've had these, like I said, these have been here quite some time, and then that one goes back to the birthday. So I'm going to finally be able to start using this guy. I wanted to keep it pristine for the video. But like I said, this is my favorite. Now, something I did want to hit on that I find interesting, I don't have my 3/8 Stahlwille out here, but I want to compare these real quick for you. So head size, obviously pretty much identical, minus this one being severed and joined, you know. But pay attention then, because when you buy the flex head from Stahlwille, you're kind of doing two things. Number one, you're getting a locking flex head, which is great. Number two, look at the overall length difference there. So with these basically as close as I can get side by side, that handle terminates when the shaft of this one is still going. Now, if we come in and we want to compare the handle sizes, take a wild guess what you're going to see. Okay. Again, it's kind of hard for me to hold this perfectly for comparison's sake, but they're identical. So your big selling point is not just the flex head, but the increased leverage you're going to get from this bad boy. To my knowledge, at least in the quick release line with 80 teeth, I don't know that they have an extended one. So that's kind of a win right there. If you give me 1 second, I'm going to step through the fan. Man, that felt good. And return with this. Why? Because I want to make another comparison for you. So, right here, this is going to be our standard 3/8. Man, I love this guy. But I actually do use the flex more, even if I keep it in standard position. It's kind of the same proportions, right? So this is really kind of a win for you, the consumer. So many times, especially with like American tool companies, you're going to have a situation where you would buy this standard 3/8 ratchet, and then your flex head or your locking flex head or both are the exact same length. Now that can be good. There are times that you would be inhibited by something longer. You need a shorter swing, a shorter throw. Generally speaking though, if you have the real estate to run a ginormous ratchet, that's the way to go. And maybe not, you know, comically long, you know, like you wouldn't be wanting 3 feet swinging behind you everywhere. But in this instance, I mean, you're basically almost double, I would say. Well, not quite, but you get the idea, right? And to have that mirrored there is kind of just a win for us, in my opinion. So 1/2 inch does the same thing. I'm sure 1/4 inch will as well. Again, if you want to see that and see us complete the holy trinity of Stahlwille locking flex heads, that video should come sometime next year, assuming I'm still alive. So I kind of hope I am. And, that'll, if I make it, if I survive another year with the government trying to kill me, there we go. We'll have our 1/4 inch locking flex head. It'll be super cool. But on that front, really, really happy with this stuff. Again, I'm excited to use this guy right here. And again, I'm kind of hoping, it's just a strange deal that 3/8, like listen to this. It's almost like a different mechanism, you know? If I grab the standard 3/8, it's like you're in a different world. You know, this is kind of like if you went to Lowe's, Home Depot, and Harbor Freight and you compared the 3 ratchets. It's like, you know, you would expect different things. Similarly, if you bought like 3 Huskies, you know, or 3 gear inch, you know, 90 tooth, they kind of like seem the same to you. They're all 80 tooth, but like this one, it's really, really similar to that. And then these, they just kind of seem, there's just something different about them. I've complained about this one since I got it. This is from that, it wasn't really an advent calendar, but it was like a Stahlwille Christmas set. Came with a 10, 13, 17, and 19. And then, to be fair, this is about the same. It might be a little smoother than that one, and we've had that one for a couple years now. So, nonetheless, I'm excited to use them. I don't think we're going to have issues. It's just the difference in the 1/4 is very similar to the 3/8. So, I've talked about that for years. I've had lots and lots of you say the same thing. Some of you even said like you opened up that same Christmas one and it was like bone dry. I've still never done that. I've just been swinging it. But yeah, it is what it is. So it was only 2 items, but I think they were 2 super cool items. I do hope you agree with me. Again, my apologies if you hear the fan right now. Like, it was just a stagnant, sultry 100 degrees in here. I'm not exaggerating. It's 100 degrees plus in the shop because I did look. So yeah, I'm going to cool off, and I might try to crank another video out here, but I'm super thrilled I can finally get these in use. Cannot wait. Big thanks to the mystery giver of the birthday gift. Sincerely appreciated. Thank you once more. And with that said, if you have used Stahlwille's 20A line or their 20 series in general, maybe metric for example, how do you like them? What are you comparing them to? Do you have Heyco? Do you have Hazette? Do you have Snap-on, Mac, whatever it may be? Tell the people which one you like and why, whether it's link, leverage, feel, just aesthetically even. All that will help somebody that watches this video decide, hey, I'm going to go Stahlwille, or you know what? A bunch of people in the comments said to go this route. I checked the prices. It's a better deal. Pulling the trigger, going that direction. End goal is to just help you find something that you will like the best for the best bang for the buck, right? So, with that said, I'll quit rambling. You know the drill, LoneStarMopars.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all 3 at Lone Star Mopars. Similarly, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts down below. If you are not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. Once more, if you ring the bell, jump your Charger across the creek, grab your 1/2 inch drive flex head, locking flex head Stahlwille, bat your 3/8 drive locking flex head Matco across the creek while landing the jump and hitting the Dixie horn. YouTube just might notify you. We got new videos out every Wednesday and Saturday. 9 a.m. Texas time. One last bonus thing for you if you're like, hey, what's that manual thing? This is it. So frequent use versus infrequent use. It's going to talk about time intervals, spick and span, clean it. This is your spare parts list. So again, maybe this stuff right here is something I should look into for that Christmas edition Ratchet. Here they're basically just prying out that snap ring, getting the cover off. There's your mechanism. It really does a nice job of walking you through it. Clean it if you want to renew it, if you want to oil it, yada yada, you get the idea. So super cool that they do include that. A lot of times it's just assumed, and I'm sure many people will appreciate that, especially the part numbers. That's the big deal. There's a lot of different half-inch drive ratchets, even in the Stahlwille line, and if you've got one of these, you want the 80 teeth going back in it. You don't want to downgrade. Maybe you do. I don't even know if they're compatible. I haven't looked into that, but having that part number come with the ratchet where you can keep tabs on it, super underrated in my opinion. But with that said, it's time for me to stand in front of the fan and contemplate if I want to put myself through another video for you people or not. But I'll probably do it. You know, I'm pretty hardcore. But anyway, once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have yourself a fantastic weekend, and most importantly, I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop.